Ever wondered what happens when profound personal trauma crashes right into the, you know, the really shadowy world of high-stakes government secrets? That's exactly the journey we're taking you on today.
Welcome to the deep dive. So our mission today is to really unpack Dave Baldacci's novel, Simple Genius. It's just this masterful blend of uh, psychological tension, government secrecy, and honestly, incredible human resilience. We're going to try and pull apart how Baldacci weaves all that together.
Yeah, and as we navigate this deep dive, we'll be following these two sort of intertwined paths, right? Through the main characters, the private investigators Sean King and Michelle Maxwell, we'll really dig into the core themes: trauma, redemption, genius itself, and that often huge cost of finding the truth.
Okay, so let's jump in right where the novel really kicks off, with Michelle Maxwell. She's introduced, and she's in a pretty devastating personal crisis. For anyone familiar with her character, she's always been seen as this incredibly tough, almost like unshakable former Secret Service agent.
But Baldacci immediately starts peeling back that fearless exterior, doesn't he? He shows us Michelle is carrying these immense scars, years of intense service, yeah, but also deep personal loss, and just a lifetime of bottled up emotions have left her mind.
Well, incredibly fragile. It's a really powerful contrast to the strong image she tries to project, almost unsettling.
And you see this fragility explode, really in a shocking moment of recklessness. Sean King, her partner, finds her in this seedy bar, and she's deliberately provoking a really dangerous confrontation. It's almost like she's daring fate, forcing Sean to jump in because he sees she's spiraling, and dangerously so.
Sean makes a really interesting choice then. He doesn't just, try to control her behavior. He actually takes her to a psychiatrist, one who specializes in trauma and psychological instability. What does that initial step tell us about how Sean sees Michelle? Well, it tells us he sees beyond just the tough act, right?
Yeah.
He gets that this isn't just about stopping her from doing something reckless now. It's about confronting these really deep internal wounds. And this is where Michelle splits this incredibly emotionally grueling journey of self-discovery. She's forced to relive painful memories, her troubled family, the tragic loss of her father. It really lays bare just how deeply wounded she is, even while she's fighting so hard to seem strong. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many people we meet who seem so solid are carrying similar invisible scars?
Right. So while Michelle is grappling with all that, with her inner demons, Sean King gets pulled into this separate mystery. Or at least it seems separate at first. He ends up investigating the suspicious death of this brilliant but pretty eccentric scientist named Monk Turing.
And this death happens at a really fascinating, highly secretive place. A top-secret facility called Babbagetown. It's near Tidewater, Virginia. The name itself, Babbagetown, it's a clear nod to Charles Babbage, the father of the computer. So that instantly signals the kind of work, the kind of minds that are gathered there.
Exactly. And the official story is suicide. But people who knew Monk, they insist he was eccentric, yeah, but not suicidal. The source material points out there were just many red flags surrounding his death.
Which, naturally, sets the stage for a really dangerous investigation for Sean. Babbagetown is just shrouded in secrecy. It houses some of the most gifted minds in math, cryptography, computer science, you name it. These scientists are working on code-breaking technologies, systems that could genuinely shift the balance of global power. So Sean realizes pretty quickly he's stepping into a very dangerous web tied to some powerful intelligence apparatus that definitely doesn't want outsiders poking around.
And then the plot thickens because right across this quiet stretch of river from Babbagetown, there's another heavily guarded compound, a CIA facility. Now, why would the CIA need to be stationed right there, directly across from a group of civilian scientists? It immediately makes you ask, is Babbagetown really independent? Or is it part of some larger covert operation? It feels too close for coincidence, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge question mark hanging over everything.
Yeah.
Sean starts piecing together this puzzle where you've got national security, raw scientific genius, and maybe personal ambition all colliding. And it's probably no accident Baldacci named the scientist Monk Turing. Just like the real Alan Turing who cracked Enigma, right? This Monk Turing seems to have been on the verge of a breakthrough so powerful it could completely rewrite the rules of global espionage. Like, imagine having a master key to every digital lock. That's the kind of skill we're talking about.
Wow. So these aren't just like abstract codes he was working on. This is something potentially game-changing, something that could make every secret vulnerable. Does Baldacci get into the specifics of the math or the puzzles, or is it more about the chilling idea of this breakthrough?
It's definitely more about the chilling concept and the potential consequences.
Sure.
If that kind of discovery fell into the wrong hands, well, it could be catastrophic. And while Sean is dealing with all this high-stakes stuff, Michelle's therapy is ongoing. Her psychiatrist is really pushing her, making her confront the roots of her self-destructive behavior, slowly peeling back those layers of trauma. And these sessions, they don't just reveal her pain, they also start to highlight her underlying intelligence and sensitivity.
It's such a striking parallel he draws, isn't it? The novel lays it out pretty clearly. This thin line between genius and instability. You've got Monk Turing, this mathematical genius living right on the edge of brilliance and eccentricity, maybe even using his puzzles as a kind of cry for help.
And then you have Michelle Maxwell. She's a gifted investigator, right? Her instincts are incredibly sharp, but they're often clouded by her emotional turmoil. She uses these dangerous confrontations almost to, like, externalize her internal chaos. Baldacci masterfully connects the fragile brilliance of the human mind, Monk's mind, Michelle's mind, to the precarious nature of the secrets being guarded at Babbagetown. It almost suggests that this heightened sensitivity, whether it's intellectual like Monk's or emotional like Michelle's, can kind of predispose you to instability.
So, as Sean digs deeper, he finds something crucial. Monk Turing didn't just leave notes behind. He left complex mathematical puzzles, coded clues. It's like Monk legacy, right?
Yeah.
But it's also a trail leading back to how he died. Can you imagine being Monk Turing on the verge of something world-changing, but you can't share it openly, so you have to encode your dying message? It paints such a picture of extreme isolation.
Yeah, it really is. And to figure these things out, Sean actually has to enlist help from inside Babbagetown, from other scientists there. He starts realizing Monk was onto something truly groundbreaking, some advanced method of code breaking that could potentially crack even the most secure systems imaginable. Now, a discovery like that, incredibly valuable, but also incredibly dangerous if it's not handled properly.
And of course, Sean poking around doesn't exactly go unnoticed. The danger ramps up significantly for him. He starts getting targeted by these shadowy figures who are clearly determined to keep the truth buried. We're talking break-ins, surveillance attempts, even direct threats. The closer he gets to connecting Monk's death to those classified projects, the riskier it becomes.
But at the same time, we see Michelle. She's still struggling, obviously, but she's slowly starting to find her footing again. The therapy is actually helping her confront those painful memories, to accept the vulnerability she'd always fought against. She begins to reemerge, not unchanged, but as a partner Sean can actually rely on again. Wounded, yeah, but resilient. Scarred, definitely, but maybe ultimately stronger in a different way.
So the story builds towards this climax where Sean and Michelle finally manage to uncover this huge conspiracy. It connects everything: Monk's death, the CIA's proximity, the hidden potential of his discoveries, and it becomes crystal clear that there are really powerful interests willing to silence anyone who threatens to expose what's really going on.
And the resolution, it blends the personal and the political so well. Michelle shows just remarkable courage, facing her own demons head-on while navigating this external danger. And Sean, he demonstrates not just persistence in the investigation, but this unwavering loyalty to Michelle. It proves their bond is, well, pretty unshakable, even when things get incredibly dark.
So what does all this really mean for us, reading it? Beyond just a thrilling plot, Simple Genius gives us this striking look into the very specific ways trauma can warp perception, even for someone highly intelligent like Michelle. It's not just a vague fragility of the mind, is it? It's how her particular kind of genius, those sharp observational skills, gets twisted by her inner turmoil. It makes her both an asset and sometimes a liability.
And that leads to this fascinating, almost philosophical point Baldacci seems to be making. Is genius itself a kind of heightened sensitivity that predisposes someone to instability? Or is it maybe a strength that can also isolate and ultimately break a person? The book suggests this really powerful link between those extremes. It shows how similar internal pressures can manifest in such different yet equally destructive ways, whether you're a Monk Turing creating codes or Michelle Maxwell provoking fights.
Plus, it really does pull back the curtain on the hidden machinery of government power, that dangerous world of secrets where truth often gets buried under layers and layers of power and deception. It raises questions about where the real genius lies sometimes. Is it in creating the codes, or is it in cracking the systems that hide the truth?
And so, that brings us toward the end of this deep dive into David Baldacci's Simple Genius. We've journeyed alongside Sean King and Michelle Maxwell as they navigated, well, everything: personal demons, government secrets, and that incredibly perilous search for truth.
Yeah, this story is a powerful reminder, isn't it, that often the greatest battles we fight are the ones within ourselves. But it also shows that resilience, loyalty, and sheer determination can actually push us through even the absolute darkest chapters.
Thank you so much for joining us in this exploration today. We hope this look at the novel gave you not just a clear picture of its plot, but also, an engaging and maybe thought-provoking experience.
And as you go about your day, maybe consider this. In our own lives, perhaps the most profound truths aren't always hidden in some external conspiracy. Maybe sometimes they're hidden within the complex codes of our own minds, our own experiences, just waiting for us to decipher them. Until next time, keep exploring.